There's been just so many things I've been feeling about this movie before, after, and during the film itself. So I just wanted to share my quick thoughts on the film with y'all in the least spoilery way possible. Today I'm going to be talking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. For starters, this movie lost its main character. Some are just feeling kind of hesitant about a posthumous film being released. It had rewrites, trouble on set, and the pandemic. But despite all this, I think Ryan Coogler still did probably the best job he could. Was it a great movie though? For me, not at all. There's definitely a decent amount of positives. First off, just coming back to this world of Wakanda, the more serious tone for the most part, which is definitely a rare aspect for MCU films. Namor was a badass. They did the lore for his character in a way where you see his world and you see what he's about, but it doesn't overly remind you of DC's Aquaman, you know? His culture in this is more primitive, if that makes sense, so I appreciate that. The acting was pretty good. Some definitely shined more than others, but the standout for me personally has got to go to Danai Gurira as Okoye. She's just got this strong female presence and you immediately respect her, and I love that they gave her more to do in this one. Other positives, Chadwick Boseman's death was handled in a very tasteful way too, for the most part. The negatives, definitely the runtime. You have Namor and Wakanda's beef. Shuri and everyone else is dealing with Black Panther's death. Riri Williams is introduced and is shown in the trailers, becomes another MCU Echo fighter that looks something out of the early 2000s Power Rangers shows. Then you have Shuri, a woman who's supposed to be the smartest person in the MCU, and she's just doing a lot of dumb shit in this movie. I get the grieving may cloud her judgment, but come on. I've been seeing this trope lately and it's kind of getting annoying. You'll have something that's like overly campy that just doesn't fit a movie. Something that's been pulled from the pages of a comic book, but from like 50 years ago, so when it's translated to live action, it just doesn't match. It's out of date. Like, in my opinion, 3-inch long ankle wings that allow someone to fly. I mean, what is this, like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that? But people will be like, oh, it's from the comics, so that's why they did that. And I was like, yeah, but certain things just don't translate well and should stay in that era. And whilst this movie does do a solid job with balancing tone, the third act definitely reminds you that this is still an MCU film, complete with all the tropes you can think of. Regardless though, I still recommend people see this. I might not have loved the film, but people deal with grief in their own ways, you know? At the end of the day, there's some positives about it for me. Also, there's a great soundtrack. The action sequences were cool. They were doing some cool slow-mo effects, almost like Zack Snyder style for a second. And lastly, there is a mid-credit scene, but no end credits. As always, y'all, thanks for watching. Until next time.